We're here.
I wish I could give you this feeling. I wish I could give you this feeling. On the corner.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here with the old man, Andreas Hale. Shout out to Our Heroes Rock. Hoodies are dope. Feeling real festive. I got a wrestling ugly sweater. You know it's the holiday season. You know it's a pro wrestling show when producer Cole Bebe is in the building. Not actually. He's calling in. But you're still here with us, Cole. Yeah, laughing all the way.
I'm always here. In the shadow somewhere.
If you were in studio, you definitely would have taken like a bump of some sort.
If I go in that studio, it's only physical harm that's going to happen.
Let's
see.
Would it hit you with this Christmas tree?
Yeah, to recap, I mean, this wrestling year, I've been thrown over a table twice. I've gone through a table. I got beat up in the NXT parking lot. It's, but somehow I'm still here and still call you guys friends. So I don't know what that says about my brain, but, here I am.
Much like Bray Wyatt, it wasn't us. It was Uncle Howdy. So if he can use it, so can we. So we appreciate you all for listening as always. Damn, it feels good to be here talking pro wrestling and one of my favorite wrestling shows of the year, Corner Podcast Awards. 8th annual pro wrestling show is always one of the best. You know, it's like kids, you're not supposed to have a favorite. But this is like my favorite Corner Podcast Awards. Pro wrestling, there's always so many different things to pick from. Rarely do we ever agree on a pro wrestling award show. So we're all going to give our nominees for the awards, come to one agreement of who wins it for all these categories. It is going to be fun. But this year we've been starting off the shows differently. First and foremost, we're starting it like we do pay-per-views. Cole, Dre, overall feelings, and we're splitting this one. Our other shows are a little different. What are your overall feelings and grades for the WWE this year? This was tough for me.
And you want a grade? Okay.
Great. This was tough because it's the whole
Yeah, I know. It's split in
year.
half. It's split in half.
I don't even remember pre-July.
No, but it's B minus.
That's not bad because it started off.
It started off shaky, but WrestleMania was good.
Yep.
Obviously the Cody arrival. Vince getting ousted.
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Like it was a B year. It wasn't like the best year, but you could see it was on the. And we're just talking WWE main roster. We're not talking NXT.
No.
Okay.
No.
That'll bring it down
a lot.
But yeah, I give it a B. I think it was a B year. It's not an A year. I know there's some people out there was like it's an A. No, it's not an A year. No, it was a very solid B year.
I feel like this is the first time in this show's history this has happened.
What?
I give it a C.
C. Okay.
I think Triple H's portion is a solid A minus so far.
That's more generous than I would give Triple H's thing, but all right.
Yeah, it started off really hot. These are always tough times. Like my expectations for this portion of the year aren't high. Like it's always tough. This is always the toughest part to book. And he had to clean up a lot of shit. But the Bloodline's only gotten better, which it could have got stale. And you're as good as your champion at the top of the card. He made the mid-card belts matter. The women's division has been fine. Bianca didn't drop the belt on some fluke shit. Like, she's still a strong champion. They have a Ronda problem. He's trying to fix the tag team division, so that's cool. And they have a belt problem. Because Roman's great, but, like, the shows are still missing something. 2 tag champions on each show would be great as well. He's trying to fix that. A minus for Trips. Vince left at a D, trending towards D minus. You lose Sasha. Cody, who is like, you threw all your eggs in that basket, gets hurt, tears his pec. You throw Sami Zayn into the Bloodline. I think that would have ended by SummerSlam had Vince kept going. By all accounts, he changed everyone's name right before he left. Nuked NXT, even though that's not in consideration. But still, like, you bring people up and you make Butch.
That was this year or last year?
It was this year. There's a bunch of everyone got their name changed this year. And it was just weird. Like Gunther from Walter, but then you strip him of his faction and kind of neuter him and then complain about it. There was just a lot of bad stuff. Vince was trending towards an F. So I landed in the middle to C.
Cole?
I'm surprised that's not enough for Vince, because that's I think
It was going that way.
The
Mania was
Vince,
great.
Especially over the last year and a half. I think whenever we talked about WWE, it was always like, all right, who's pissed off now? Who's getting fired? Who's getting laid off?
Yep.
Who's getting their name changed? It was a disaster. And you want to talk about a disaster? WrestleMania season was a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, the WrestleMania nights did make up for it and ended up being very good. But I mean, going into it, the Royal Rumble was maybe one of the worst Royal Rumbles ever.
I don't even remember it.
Oh,
we were doing the show.
No lie, we were doing the show.
Yeah,
I watched it a couple weeks ago for the first time.
Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny were in the last 3 or 4.
Oh, that's right. Shane got fired because of the Rumble.
Shane got fired because Shane called his own number, apparently.
Yeah.
And
God,
it was right around that time, the day one stuff happened, and Brock dropped the title only to win the Rumble. Royal Rumble was a disaster.
C-.
No, I'm gonna
It was.
He's right. Cole's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think after that, the Triple H has been on cleanup duty, and that's why I don't think we're seeing the full. It's hard for me to go here. Trips gets an A+ or the B+ or whatever he get. He's been doing so much cleanup work. I put the year as a whole at around a C, for the reason of literally the standard for WWE was at the Earth's core. It was so low. The bar was so low. And to the other company that we'll talk about soon, AEW, their whole capitalization for a good year was, we're not WWE. And that was good enough for them to be gaining popularity and getting wrestling talent. Yep. So it was just straight up, WWE was not a place that people really wanted to be. And it didn't feel like that. It didn't come through the television. So, now we're at this point where they are in a healthier state. It feels like a wrestling company again, feels like a wrestling promotion again. It doesn't, it feels like we're being treated less as idiots as we were before. So has everything been perfect? Absolutely not. However, things are a little bit better. I still think Kel's right. There's a little bit of a bottleneck issue in the women's division, especially with all the additions that we've. Are they additions or were they all brought back? I don't know. Either whatever terminology you choose to use, they've brought in a lot of women to that division, but there is a Ronda problem, and that is something that still needs to be figured out come this WrestleMania season. I still think elements like the Judgment Day still don't really do it for me. I thought Bray's return was great, and everything since then has been confusing to a whole nothing to me.
Yep.
And I think the biggest thing that they have going for them has been the Bloodline, and they've been fantastic. And all I could say is, we could have a lower grade here, but thank the Lord for Sami Zayn. Him going into the Bloodline, and their whole story, Kevin Owens being thrown into there. When, by the way, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were probably the best parts of WrestleMania, with a Stone Cold match and the Jackass match, which deserves its shout outs because that was way better than anybody thought it was going to be.
Yes, it was.
I think, the Bloodline is wrestling Succession, which I'm such a big fan of, and I can't wait to see. There's a lot of potential going forward for them for this WrestleMania season, and I'm really, really excited about getting to Rumble and seeing how all that shapes up, because with this loaded roster, men's and women's, there's a lot of different ways we could go, and you have Cody Rhodes as well.
Cody Rhodes. All right, rolling right into that.
Wait, hold on. I'm going back to a B-. I forgot about Money in the Bank too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's B-, C+ now, because I totally spaced that.
Yeah,
when you mentioned Butch, I was like, oh, and Royal Rumble was bad, but Money in the Bank was bad.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, B-. Anyway, I think it was a good year because Clash at the Castle was really fucking good. Roman versus Logan Paul had no business being as good as it was.
No, that was good, but that's early Trips.
Yeah,
And
no, I get it.
he's been around 4 months. So like the
Well,
other
yeah.
7,
Half and half.
yeah,
But WrestleMania was good.
it's been shaky.
Surprisingly,
WrestleMania
WrestleMania was good. So
Cole reminded me that the build for Mania was shit.
it was trash. But yeah,
the night delivered.
I'll hang on to a B- because the Bloodline angle has been very strong.
Cole, so you bring it back this way. What is your overall grade for AEW on the year?
Overall grade for AEW. Boy, I feel like this is the WWE one is complicated for like a very additive reason of like there is Vince era, there is Trips era. AEW is so all over the place because I think going into the year there was so much optimism for AEW. AEW was over the moon.
Yep.
CM Punk back, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, let alone all the other wrestlers that would soon come in. Swerve, Keith Lee. I mean, it seemed like it was like WWE was letting people off, and then 2 weeks later we'd see them in an AEW ring. I think, this is tough. I'm kind of in the same range. I'd probably say B- for AEW, and I think with AEW, their weekly television, they have a particularly different style. They have not been able to execute long-term bookings very well. Part of that this year was due to injuries.
Yeah.
And it was injuries piling up all over the place. Really, really impacted their long-term storytelling for their big marquee programs. But even like in like a mid-card area, they really don't, it's really not necessarily about long-term storytelling. It's all about, all right, how can we put on the best weekly show we can? And it kind of feels like where WWE and the Bloodline kind of feels like a show you're watching like a Netflix series and you're going through a season. AEW feels more like a serial where it's, you kind of show up one week and things are a little bit different. They're kind of the same, but you're getting, what's the flavor of the month, this week.
Yeah.
And that's that's gone to their advantage and also gone to their detriment. So I think that's something that hopefully they have better injury luck. As far as their long-term story goes, them losing, what we assume is losing CM Punk is definitely however you feel about Brawl Out and how all that went is a loss. CM Punk was a huge draw for AEW. There's just no question about it. So how they pick up the pieces from that and how they keep going is going to be interesting. They also have, they have a women's division problem that is now finally got some potential with it because they finally put the belt on someone who's red hot. So that is helping a lot. Where of course, this speaking of recency bias,
I was about to say, yeah.
The
right
Dynamite
now,
was
right?
really good. Shows potential, but it's really just like you want to talk about like the serialized nature of it. That's an element of AEW that needs some more storytelling. Like these women have to be given time to create these stories and have them have payoffs. So where they were very focused on like, this is their one match, like every week. And the only real story element we had was Britt and Jamie, and we didn't pay that off. They also really missed on a lot of payoffs for their long-term storytelling. So I would say B-, C+ range. Because I think overall they still on individual basis, they would still just like every couple of weeks be cranking out a match that you're talking about and is notable. And their pay-per-views, however the builds went, most of the pay-per-views were incredibly solid. So yeah, I'm in that kind of middle range.
They're definitely super indied out this year. I'll go next. I'm going to give this, if the other one's like, if WWE is almost a C-, this is a C. Because mostly because their same problems last year this time are their same problems now. Where it's just, you bring in all this talent and there's really not a plan for them. And you're trying to do something on the mid-card, but failing horribly in that. And then the added nature of, they had an ROH problem. And that may bode well and be an ROH positive for 2023 and 2024. But in 2022, it was a problem. And there's no other way around that. They had to go after a deal. They had to shoehorn in all this other extra talent, and it further diluted the mid card. It added way too many titles, way too many people were on and off television. Ricky Starks is great again now, but he was super hot 3 months ago. And you look at a guy like Mero, who hasn't been around for whatever reason. I don't know if he's injured. Then you had so many different moving pieces. Darby's cool, but he's just kind of doing Sting stuff. And you have all these mid-card pieces, but none of them feel like they're really justified. I think Jungle Boy is the exception, maybe. I feel like he's maintained strong, but that's a Christian Cage. Same program for 6 months. Hey, long-term storytelling works. So, yeah, it's a C for me. The women's division is still very one-match oriented. Like, Hater's hot, and the crowd, is heating her up every time she comes out, and that's great, but there's still no feud there. Even this week, giving her the main event against Sheeta is just like, oh, these two can wrestle. Let's remind you guys that the women here can wrestle. That's great. We know you guys can wrestle. It's not a sports entertainment company, but you need some sports entertainment. WWE is not a wrestling company. You need some wrestling. I feel like they're struggling in that storytelling, making people care beyond the live crowd is hot. Yeah, it's a super indie crowd. They're going to pop for everything. Can you make people at home care? Can you develop new fans? Can you make kids care? How are you going to build on this? Like, the storytelling there is lacking. So they get to see, outside of Tony Khan hugging people and CM Punk eating, fucking random cupcakes and shit. Like, it's a C overall.
I'm giving it a B. I don't know how. Like, you guys are very hard on your grades, and I'm usually the harsh grader. I thought it wasn't last year, but you came into the year with MJF versus CM Punk, which was an excellent feud. We went to Double or Nothing with one of the greatest brawls we ever saw in the arena. Like, they didn't miss on their pay-per-views. They just didn't.
No.
Forbidden Door was excellent.
Some were long as hell, but there's great moments in a lot of them.
They didn't miss. Their pay-per-views didn't miss.
They were long as fuck.
You had Hangman versus Danielson. You had Daniel Garcia versus Danielson. You had Moxley versus Garcia. You had Wheeler Yuta and I think they had a strong year in the ring. The complaints about storytelling, they're prevalent. They exist. But if they weren't AEW and they were Indie Promotion X, we would have gave it a high score. We're grading this off of the storytelling for weekly television.
100%.
But I'll still give it a B because I think they hit where they needed to hit. They overcame some adversity in terms of storytelling. Yeah, a lot of shit doesn't click. It's impossible. It'll be impossible for somebody to get an A from me. But I thought this was still a very strong year.
They didn't get an A last year?
No, they didn't. I think I gave them like a B+.
Oh, that's rough.
I felt like they got really close. They were like on the verge. Like everything was starting to come together and a lot of things fell apart that was beyond their control. But they do have a women's division problem. Like, as you mentioned, they do have all right, we got all these pieces and it's like, who fits where? Okay. House of Black disappeared. Now they're back. It's like, all right, it's like they're figuring things out amidst the injuries. But I still think it's a strong brand overall. The ROH thing, yeah, it was an issue. But I think in-ring, it was a very strong year in-ring for AEW. They struggled storytelling-wise, but a lot of that's due to injury. And if I give the WWE a B-, I'm going to give them a B.
That's fair. I mean, I gave one a C and another one a C-. I feel like they're that close with AEW being a little bit above, and I think Cole's ratings showed the same. Like, AEW had a little bit better year, WWE as a whole.
Yep.
So we'll see next year. I mean, AEW set up where a lot of their people are coming back. You kind of have the full, chessboard to play with. And now it's like you got to make it count. You have a guy on top who's young, who's charismatic, who has star power as your champion. Let's see who else you build and make credible feuds and build new main event stars. To me, that's the key of 2023. Who's going to build their next generation of stars?
AEW already has theirs. MJF is the guy.
Yes, but you can lose MJF in a year, right? Like, we say that.
You can lose anybody in a year, but
that's fair. But I'm saying, like, you think you have that guy, like WCW had Sting. Like, Sting was there the whole time. Like, you can have a guy all the way throughout, but sometimes you could lose this guy. This guy can get injured, as we've seen, or you can just book someone horribly and really fuck up their whole momentum. So it's like you should hit on MJF. You should hit on Ricky Starks. You should hit on Jungle Boy. All these people 30 and under. And it's like, yo, you have all this talent to hit on 30 and under and be fine. But you got to do it. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. I think that's the race now. It's like who's creating the next Randy Ortons, the next AJ Styles, all these people who carried the last, 2000 through 2015. It's time to create those new people to go from 2020 to 2035. And who's going to do it? Next up, the other thing we've added this year, Corner Festivus. Festivus, for the rest of us, it wouldn't be Christmas and holiday time without Festivus. We don't have the poll here, but next year, trust, there will be a giant poll in here. But we will start with the airing of grievances. What bothered you most in pro wrestling as a whole over this past year? One thing that bothered you most. And it's tough because Vince McMahon did a lot of dumb shit. So, I mean, I feel like it's easy to go to Vince and kind of nitpick that and be like, okay, this is the problem there. Mine, when I looked at everything as a whole, I really had a problem with, and this is the only time I'm bringing it up because it just saddened me, the collapse of NXT. It was unnecessary. It has been reversed somewhat, but the brand has not helped.
No.
All the people who were cut from down there just went to the main roster. And then the brand, even though Carmelo Hayes is great, Braun Breaker has something, they got to figure it out. You got something, there's some talent. Grayson Waller, you say whatever the hell you want. He's easily hated. That's a great quality in pro wrestling. They got some pieces. It just got there real bad. And they tore it down for a weekly television product. It's shitty. It's a ghost of what it was. And I feel like it's out of spite. And I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to grossly assume. But Vince leaving, the scandals, all that shit, didn't pop up the day before he left. I'm thinking maybe there were some writings on the wall. Vince said, fuck it, I'm tearing this shit down. And when I'm gone, it's going to be how I want it to be because there's no other pieces here to do anything else. We're only going to have NCAA and random-ass people talent. We're only going to have, and my way is going to last forever because all your indie people, all the people now, they're all gone, whether I'm here or not. Lo and behold, they opened up the purse strings and signed everybody back. But they would have been in a pickle. So that's my biggest thing. The death of NXT as we know it is my biggest gripe of the year. I already saw 205 Live die, man. Like I had to watch NXT now. WWE fucking me up. So that's my gripe.
Cole, you go.
I think there are a couple directions that we can go with this. There's like Kel in you recapping something. Actually, something else came to mind, but I'll mention that later. I think my main gripe that I think I have from this year, and I don't think it's necessarily anything new, but I think it was extremely prevalent this year given all of the backstage drama that was occurring especially in AEW, but people's really gross reactions and overreactions to it, where people are constantly searching for the death of AEW whenever a pin drops somewhere, and all of a sudden everyone's up and, oh, they're such shit, they're so bad. It's like, guys, wrestling in the 80s and 90s, like people were probably like stabbing each other back there. Like, for the love of God, the things that are happening there where like a dog bit Kenny Omega, like probably is not going to hold a candle to shit that was happening in the 80s and 90s. People got over shit in wrestling. And in fact, people it was
the
Ace
person.
Steel who bit
Yeah,
him. That's right.
sorry.
And it was because Kenny was saving the dog. Excuse me. You can see how I get that mixed up.
Sure.
Anyways, and also humans biting each other. I don't fucking still wild. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's tame.
But also like, 80s and 90s, like people like had shit going on backstage that was probably way more hardcore, and they figured out how to make money off of it. The real key is drama is such a prevalent part of wrestling. wrestling at the end of the day is essentially a reality television show. And the key is to take that drama and figure out how you can make money off of it, right?
Yep.
They figured out how to make money off of MJF calling Tony Khan a fucking mark, right? It didn't burn down the company. It wasn't the end of days. Him getting on a flight wasn't the end of days, right? Like, just a gross overreaction to all of the drama that kind of surrounded that surrounds, either AEW and WWE too. Now, granted, like WWE, there's the stands that have the reverse problem where they'll book something super small and it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread, and that's the death of AEW, when like people were defending Vince shit. So like people were going after Sasha Banks when she decided I'm out, and it's like, what are you guys talking about? Like, no, you don't realize that the company is in the wrong here. We can be critical here and it's okay. So I think it's really just the
WWE
gross.
smarks bother Cole.
It's it's just really just gross overreactions to everything. And also, I will say on top of that, anyone who goes online and says the term ring psychology when they don't like a flippity dippity shit match bothers the hell out of me, because that is a person that has no idea what they're talking about.
Taking a shot at
And
Cornette.
they have any of those people that like listen to Cornette and don't watch wrestling. Like, at the end of the day, like, you don't know what's going on. Like, just be entertained by what you're watching. Yep. I don't get it. Like, people will do something like athletic and they'll botch it and everyone goes, "Oh, botch, you suck. Oh, you botched it." But then we get a crazy like flippity dippity segment, like part of the match where like 5 different things happen and it's that didn't do ring psychology for me. Like, what do you want? What's going to entertain you? If nothing's going to entertain you, go watch something else. Like, that's like, I'm all for, storytelling within the ring. Do not get me wrong. That is not at all what I'm saying. I think storytelling is obviously a very important part, but you can tell a story while doing flippy shit at the same time. They're freak athletes. Let them do their thing. And if they can do it well, that's awesome. So ring psychology.
I love the flippy shit.
It's easy for me. And this is like my MAGA problem with the UFC is tribalism in pro wrestling. That's just it. I watch
similar to Cole's.
Yeah, it's every year. Well, this year showed it more than anything else. I hate Cody Rhodes in AEW. Shows the WWE, they fucking love him. What happened? It's the same fucking guy.
Same guy. Same music.
The man got a bruised chest and y'all lost your fucking mind. Like, stop. Sasha Banks. Everybody loves Sasha Banks. And now she's not there and people are like, oh, we don't need her. What are you talking about? Y'all are big Sasha Banks marks.
I mean, I'm a huge Sasha Banks mark. I also think they might not need her, but I still like Sasha.
Like, but it's just ridiculous watching the tribalism at work. Like, people will just go out of their way to shit on one company or the other and not just, look, good wrestling is good wrestling. Gunther and Sheamus had a fucking banger this year.
Incredible.
We can't, like, I've seen AEW fans like, it wasn't that great. What are you talking about? It was great. I've seen the other side of this where they just completely act like FTR didn't exist. Like, I don't get why you have to pick a side when neither of these promotions are fucking paying you.
But when FTR was the revival, they were the shit in NXT.
Well,
These people loved them. Now it's just like...
It's weird. Like, you go... I mean, we watched it with Adam Cole. Adam Cole's the same guy.
Yeah.
He goes from one promotion to the other and everybody lost their shit.
Something really cooled off in AEW, though. I
mean, he got hurt.
Yeah, right.
But
even when he was there, it was kind of like wonky.
But he was crazy over.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was not over.
No.
He was ridiculously
I think it's
over.
the theme song. The new theme song just didn't hit as much.
I don't think it's that. I just think people looked at him in AEW and was like, oh, he's doing this. Like, dude, he was on NXT on a 1 hour show.
Ran from the grind.
That shit. People who love, I mean, shit, we had Swerve on this show. People love Swerve in NXT.
Keeping receipts.
He shows up to AEW and now he dresses weird. Oh, he's ridiculous. I don't like. No.
You know what those are? Allegations. False allegations.
But I can't.
False accusations.
Accusations, my bad. But I can't. The tribalism in pro wrestling is just reaching extremes that are absurd. You don't have to fucking pick a side. Why can't you enjoy? Like, same with like Marvel and DC shit. Like, one is better than the other.
Sure.
But to sit there and just go out of your way, I've seen DC people just go out of their way and shit on Marvel. I'm like,
constantly.
What are you doing?
Make you feel good at night?
How about this? Like, if you don't like it, just don't fucking watch it.
That's never an option.
Ugh, that's my shit.
That makes sense. But no one's just not going to watch it because the loudest people are the people who watch something to hate on it. It gets the furthest in terms of volume.
And a collective grievance from all three of us that Sasha Banks is not wrestling right now. So Hopefully
that
next year
easily could have been my number one. Fuck
that
it.
goes. But I feel like we have to mention this just as in a case of just like, how the fuck do you drop that ball?
Yeah.
How do you do that wrong by Sasha?
And let the record show, if she wants to wrestle, I hope she comes back. She wrestles wherever she wants. She's happy as hell.
Yep.
But personally, I hope she never comes back to wrestling. I think she's at the point where she can go full Cena, full Rock, go to Hollywood. Fuck it. If you want to come back, sign WWE for a Saudi bag. Don't come back for anything less than a stupid amount of money. But you're in a position where you can go. You don't have to turn back. You become a star in Hollywood and say, fuck it. You do runways and all that stuff. And you don't have to tease New Japan, blah, blah. But if you really love it like she does, cool. Do what you want. But I think she's big enough now where she can go and never has to come back.
And my other, it's a minor grievance, but it's a personal grievance, is seeing my brother Big E get hurt this year.
Yeah,
That's always, I mean, we talk every day. But it's like, it feels like it was years ago now in my head. Day one was this year when he dropped the title. And it was from that point, the shit just fell apart and put him in. It's weird because I'm not saying that Ridge broke his neck, but I'm saying he went from champ to like mid-Carter immediately, and he got hurt. And I watched how people reacted to it, and that was the most difficult thing I had to watch, was trying to figure out what was going on and having like the world hit me up. Hey, is he okay? Fuck, I don't know. I'm watching TV just like you. And when I did talk to him, I was one of the first people to talk to. It was like, I'm not going to just immediately tell y'all he's okay. It's not my business.
Yeah.
But watching him get hurt and his a career-threatening injury, and obviously he's still not back. And
I would have loved to see what he could do with this iteration of the WWE, where there's a little less shackles but again, health comes first.
Yeah, and that's a bigger scope of injuries. Like, injuries were crazy this year.
Yes.
Adam Cole, we don't even know if he's coming
All
back.
promotions.
Like, everybody got, like,
Kenny
ransacked.
Omega had a great year. He was gone for like 8 months of it.
People were crushed by injuries. Injuries was a killer.
Oh, my God. CM Punk hurt twice.
That's what I'm saying.
He was here for like 2 months.
Won the title and broke his foot immediately. Injuries are crazy this year.
Came back, got hurt again. So it's definitely something to look at, because we're going to go into the awards here shortly, but it's weird because for so long we thought injuries were related to the WWE schedule of like, so many house shows, this, that. Now the question becomes like, is that lack of activity and having to ramp it up when you have less dates more harmful?
No, this is what it is. The wear and tear on the body from the daily, like, you're not injured, you're hurt. Injuries are different. People, like, if you talk to anybody that did that grind, that shit just wears your body out. So it's not the reps. Like, shit just happens, right? People just get injured.
Does it happen more? Because another thing I've heard is Cole's grievance with the flippity-dippity shit. But, like, the pressure now more than ever to put on a 5-star banger over and over and over. You take more chances, you take more risk, it leads to more big injuries.
But it's funny, like, the injuries, if you watch wrestling, the injuries are off of the most basic moves.
They are.
You never watch a match and you're like, oh my God, that crazy move. Other than
Cole's concussion came on like some
that's
random
what I'm saying.
Shit. Yeah.
Cole, like John Moxley injuring Hangman. Like, if you go through the list of injuries, they're like the most basic things. CM Punk, a springboard, right? Basic injuries. And this is what happens. It's not the high risk. It's just the grind. It's just freak shit happens. Like, we just watched Kyler Murray just go down with a non-contact injury. It happens. There's nothing you can do about it. That man can play 7 days a week of football and may never happen.
Yep.
So it's not the reps. It's just we just had a rash of injuries off of really basic moves.
And then last part of Festivus, the feats of strength. Who had the strongest year in pro wrestling as a whole? Cole. So breaking this down for you, it's not the best wrestler, not the best match. Who grew their star power the most? Who had the strongest year this year is the question.
Who kind of broke out? Who kind of glowed up
exactly
this year? Well, I think I've got
a lot of people to choose from.
There's one that comes to mind, and I would be shocked if none of us shared this answer. But what I hear is that everybody loves the Acclaimed. Just go back. All I urge people is go back to even like January, February. Go watch a clip of the Acclaimed coming out, and that crowd is like Cool. The Acclaim.
Oh, see, that's a different award to
Now,
me.
now the Acclaimed come out, and that crowd is so goddamn over the moon the second they hear that siren. It's
Yes.
crazy. And it was definitely one of those things that, like, I don't think any of us really were able to measure the impact of the Acclaim's rise throughout the year until we were at the shows when Double or Nothing was in town in Vegas.
Yep.
And I think it was Dynamite, and we heard that siren go off, and that crowd went nuts. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a
This
match
is-
at the pay-per-view.
No.
They just had them
This
come
is-
out and rap. Go back.
Yeah, it's like, this is something. Like, they're onto something here. Like, the Scissor Me Daddy ass is working. Obviously, Billy Gunn being put into that group, and of all phrases, Scissor Me Daddy ass becoming the most popular phrase in wrestling. I don't think anybody grew more in a calendar year than the Acclaimed. I will give a shout out though on the women's side and say that they're someone who certainly came out of nowhere to gain a lot of popularity in that division. Willow Nightingale, every time she comes out, that
Hey,
crowd is
Willow's the homie.
super hot for her.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to see someone who's been, you didn't see the work, and now you're seeing the work, and you're seeing the fruits of labor pay off. And I'm hoping for a big year for her next year. So also shout out there. But my feats of strength goes to the Acclaimed.
Yes, my feats of strength isn't someone who came out of nowhere. It's someone who had a long history, who was established. To many, has been one of the best wrestlers, best workers of the past decade. It's gotten exponentially better. Not better, but finally can shine. Sami Zayn. He is my winner of feats of strength. What he was able to do from that jackass match to what the hell are we doing with Sammy at all, to dancing randomly behind Roman, and then what he's done with the Bloodline, and has carried that group to now the anticipation of what I have going into Mania season. People want him to challenge and take the belt off of Roman.
Yeah.
He was never in that conversation prior to July, August. Sami Zayn is my guy for feats of strength. Strongest year in pro wrestling.
That's a great answer.
Those are two damn good picks. Mine is Bianca Belair. Think about it. Last year, we thought it was done.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. We thought it was
SummerSlam.
over. She thought it was over. She was right here on this show, thought it was over.
Yeah, she was.
She goes in the Royal Rumble season. She goes into WrestleMania, has a fantastic match with Becky Lynch. And not only has she been the champion and basically unbeatable, but now she's got a reality show. She's been on like college football. She's been everywhere. She brought out the HBCU band. And when you talk about a profile that's exploded, for a company that was dominated by the horsewomen, that woman has surpassed them.
Yep.
So I will say Bianca because this time last year we weren't sure what Vince thought of her. And she grinded her way back to the top and is
Arguably, she wasn't supposed to be in that match with Becky.
No.
It was by chance. It's Charlotte saying,
Yeah.
I want Ronda.
Yeah, basically. So it's Bianca, but I don't think there's any wrong answer with the ones that you guys gave because the Acclaimed, like, that was from the dirt.
Yeah.
And Sammy you could have been going nowhere fast.
Yep.
But Sammy's always been turned like dog shit into gold. But this year he's really done.
It's next level.
It's good shit.
Next
Yeah,
level.
it's one thing for them to go like, oh wait, this guy just turns everything from bad into something good into let's invest in this and
Yeah.
let's actually make this a premier part of our programming.
Good management, Cole. Good management goes a
Good
long,
management
goes a long
does
way.
things, and before we continue with the awards, I just want to know if there's been any progress. We're going to be talking about our favorite wrestlers of the years. I just want to know if there's been any progress between you two while I've been gone. In the Brett and Sean debate, have you guys come to
He's always
Shawn
gonna stick with
Michaels,
Sean. It's Brett.
I just kind of want to get an idea here, because there's something on the table,
fuck is going
and I've
on?
been
I
told
don't know. I
to
feel like this
shoehorn
is
in
like
an intro.
an Undertaker moment more than
Whoa,
a Brett
I have no
Sean.
idea what's going to happen either, but I'm glad I did it. I
there's-
rise from the ashes. This is all me somehow producing. From
Yes,
here
I
in
feel-
California. Like I'm still got my for those listening. There's a thing on the middle of the desk.
Yes. Cole, if this
that
isn't
is-
Sasha Banks, I'm going to be horribly
If
disappointed.
she's that small,
It's
I'm
gonna
gonna be disappointed.
Something needs to be revealed on the middle of the desk between
Like Tony
Dre and
Khan.
Kel, and we're waiting to see what happens here.
Do I pull this up now? How does this work? Yes. Do we reveal this?
Do we reveal?
What-
Do we reveal? We reveal. And
Oh my
And-
god!
oh,
Look
Oh,
at that!
what-
there's a
Look at that.
corner
Oh my-
ring.
oh
Wow!
my
And-
god!
It is a goat for Christmas.
Yes, this goat,
Shawn Michaels
Wait,
the Hitman.
with double faces. Look at this.
they can finally
Ultimate
settle
Edition.
it here.
Bret Hart. Bret the goat. The goat is Bret the Hitman Hart. There's
It's unbelievable. They can finally settle their debate here in this makeshift
Hey.
ring here in the corner.
and we're not in Montreal, so Bret's not getting screwed.
We're not in Montreal.
Screw Job Part 2.
Wow.
For those listening, there's
A
they've
ring.
received figures of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and there's a ring in
That
the
is
middle
beautiful.
of the
Yes.
table. It is very,
That
Do we
is-
open-
in the spirit of giving.
I'm
you
not
know,
opening mine.
Oh, no. The idea is you're going to find out who's the better wrestler
Yes.
What?
tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Wait.
guess I gotta open them.
Yeah. So we're booking this match on the fly. People, we have Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels.
All right. You know I don't want to open this.
I know you hate opening like
Wait, are they gonna
toys and
fight?
such. Oh yeah. You're lucky we don't have the theme
Oh
music.
shit!
This is right now on the mic. We are opening it. Let's see what we have here. Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart is first to escape his container.
The excellence
That's
of
it. It's elimination chamber.
That's
Yeah, I know, right?
yes. Something
plexiglass.
Bret
Y'all
Hart
listen
never
to all this
competed in.
crinkling. Yo, they gave Bret Hart a Rick James wig. God damn. He got the Rick James wig.
Bret Hart don't even move. He has like the worst toy ever. Look at Shawn. Look at the GOAT. Shawn has like 18 points of movement. I have different gear.
Like the only way you're gonna
Man.
beat him, the only way you're gonna beat Bret is there an Earl Hebner toy around here somewhere?
That's what we need. Look at him. Look at Shawn tuning it up.
Damn.
Bret
Oh,
doesn't want.
shit.
Look at the knee moves.
Bret's knees don't even move.
It
Damn, Bret.
is-
Look.
Look, it is.
Is
easily
this
the
WCW, Brett? Did you get WCW, Brett? Is that what happened?
You know what? You know why his knees don't move? Blame Goldberg.
Yeah, it's all Goldberg.
Yes. So look, at Shawn does the signature pose. Bret does nothing.
No, he does the this is close to the
Oh my God! Look at him! Look
Yep.
at him!
Look at Shawn. Oh my gosh.
Shawn looks
Oh,
good.
Dre.
Oh my God!
Dre, he pulled,
Oh,
he pulled the
illegal
leg.
maneuver.
That's all bad. Dre is
no Earl
dirty.
Hebner. Bret's the champ. Champ shit.
You know what? Shawn came in as the champion. You can't win by count out.
I'm
Brett wins
Oh,
the match.
man.
Shawn retains the belt,
Champion-
baby.
gonna
Wow!
sit,
Champion's advantage.
I'm gonna sit Bret right there.
That's
There you go.
Shawn's
Look
on
at
the outside of the ring.
Appreciate
Oh, that
y'all.
is amazing. Thank you. Look
Yeah.
at that. We get special gifts. Thank you. Merry Christmas. This Shawn Michaels toy is dope.
And it goes very well into our segments of
Yes.
giving out. I hopefully we've gotten some of the negative out of the way with Festivus, because ultimately, while we grade things on particular scales, there's a lot of positive stuff in wrestling.
Yes.
And that's what these awards are about. I'm very excited to see where we go next.
I will tell you, Cole, not to burst your bubble. This is the first year we also have negative awards because there's some negative shit going on in pro wrestling too. But don't worry,
What?
even though
Well,
it shall be lighthearted. Let's start with our first Corner Podcast Award for 2022 Men's Wrestler of the Year.
Oh, this is
This is a little easier now that Cole's here because we might have a tiebreaker. The other time we just had to figure out who to give it to. Mine is easy. I'm not sure anyone has ever had this many 5-star matches in 1 year.
Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay is my Men's Wrestler of the Year, and in-ring isn't everything. But damn, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And he's figured it out on the mic. Amazing heel. If you guys don't watch New Japan as much and cool, you'd be like, well, the mic work doesn't work there. Don't worry about that. He showed up in AEW for like 6 weeks, cut a couple of great promos, showed how charismatic he was, and stole the show. He looked like a superstar on national TV every single week. To the point people are like, oh, he's gone. Like you want to see him come back, and people are hyped and probably going to tune in to Wrestle Kingdom to see him versus Kenny Omega because they don't know any of the shit happened before. And Will Ospreay teasing a one-winged angel all year in New Japan and overseas and stuff. No, they're tuning in because of what they did together in 6 weeks on AEW. Will Ospreay is my wrestler of the year.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like there's gonna be so many people like, how did you not pick Roman Reigns? And Roman Reigns, don't get me wrong,
Gave it to him last year. That's great.
he had an excellent year. Even in ring, the Logan Paul match, Like, he's had a great year. Like, the War Games match was great.
And let's keep it buck. It wasn't as good as the year before. The Jey Uso feud,
No,
the
no.
Kevin Owens matches.
But
He had a better year last year. Gave
this
it so
dude,
much.
Will Ospreay, came into the year with Okada. That's a 5-star match.
Yep.
I don't even talk about Meltzer shit. He went to G1, Shingo Takagi, Okada again. He worked Michael Oku in Progress, I believe.
Yes.
He gave us a damn near classic with Orange Cassidy. He gave us a banger with Tetsuya Naito.
Yep.
A Naito who a lot of people was like, he's on his last legs, but that match was incredible.
Not to mention the triple threat.
He doesn't miss.
Yep.
The man, as far as a performer goes inside of that wrestling ring, like between the bells, you are not fucking with Will Ospreay.
Who was their first round match in the trios tournament in AEW? The Death Triangle?
Death Triangle.
Yeah.
That match was a banger.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
There's going to be so many people that listen to this podcast and are going to cannot believe we didn't pick Moxley or Roman. No, man. If that's the only two wrestling things that you watch, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't help
Will
it.
Ospreay's
And
the
they
best
had great
wrestler.
years.
Yeah, Will Ospreay's incredible.
Will had the best year.
Cole.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am 100% behind Ospreay being the winner here, but I will give my flowers to who I thought was Wrestler of the Year. Doing it in multiple promotions, all across. You had AEW, doing stuff in GCW, WWE, Ric Flair's last match. That's right, people. The Wrestler of the Year is Jeff Jarrett. Can you believe it, Slap Nuts? Can you believe it? Jeff Jarrett is the No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Cut his mic.
No,
Jeff
I think,
Jarrett and his two fans popped over that.
to give the flowers to John Moxley.
Yeah.
The thing with Moxley, I think he was truly the virtual Madden Greg Jennings of the year, in which dude could have been broken down and beaten, but dog, he put the team on his back when everything was going wrong. He was supposed to go on vacation and he said, fuck it, put the belt back on me. The guy for how it went that year and how things could have gone so horribly wrong, he was the one who stayed healthy and was able to keep the mantle in AEW in the title picture. He was able to have banger matches every week with somebody new. He was a fighting champion. And then on top of that, his work in GCW as well was fantastic. So I think Ospreay's our one to combat, though, because like you guys said, Ospreay just does not miss. And his quality of matches that he had in his little short runway in that Forbidden Door window were absolutely outstanding. Orange Cassidy, the triple threats, or I'm sorry, the 6-man tag matches. Yep. Couple other people, as you know, I have a extensive list of notes, so I like to give some honorable mentions as well. I think I put Sami Zayn on my list as well because of his impact, just story-wise throughout WWE and what he was doing and what he did with the Jackass match and everything in the Bloodline. He is absolutely fantastic. Dax Harwood, I want to give a shout out to as well.
Dax Harwood.
I think we will be talking about him later in the show, I would assume.
Yes.
But want to give his shout out too for some of his solo work that he had. He had some great matches on television. And then on the indie scene, Matt Cardona is still doing great shit out there. And Mike Bailey also, by the way, is killing it. That dude is having some banger matches. He's been having some banger matches in Impact. Love seeing his work there. So those are the honorable mentions.
Like Cole coming through with the honorable mentions. But yeah,
I love to get spread the love, man. Spread the love.
Women's Wrestler of the Year. I mean, I don't even got to spend time on Bianca Belair is the Women's Wrestler of the Year.
There's no question.
No woman has had a better match than she did at WrestleMania this entire year. And then she just followed it up as an amazing reign as champion. She sat here and she was worried about her first reign as champion and what that meant. She don't got none of those worries this time.
Yeah. You talked about the WrestleMania match, but then you look at the match with Bayley, the last woman standing match. That was great. Her mic work, everything that she does it's just, she is head and shoulders above everybody right now. And I know people look at, we love Jade Cargill, and people want to just pit them against each other, which is weird. Find somebody else to pit her up against.
They're at different
different levels.
Right
they're clearly at different levels, especially when it comes to experience. But if you just look at the WWE roster and the AEW roster, there is no woman who accomplishes the feats that Bianca Belair does athletically, and she just continues to get better as a wrestler. So it's easy for me. It's Bianca.
Cole.
Easy, yeah. Bianca Belair, head and shoulders above the rest. Just everything was so consistent this year. She continues to be just an incredible performer. Anytime it's a big stage match, big pay-per-view, I mean, all of her big matches that she had this year, they all delivered. Her two with Becky at WrestleMania and SummerSlam were both fantastic. The program with Bayley so far has been awesome. Yeah, is not missing. Is not missing anywhere, but. Do want to give a shout out because we talked about the women's divisions, how WWE maybe has a little bit of a bottleneck problem with Ronda up top. We talked about AEW and how there are reasons to be critical of how we're telling the stories there while they have incredible performers in there. Want to shout out the Impact women's division because they are badasses. They put on some banger matches over there. Yeah. And there's actually one I will probably be bringing up here later in the show. But just all of them, I think Jordan Grace's run so far has been really good.
Yeah.
She had a great match with Masha Slamovich in one of the pay-per-views. So want to give flowers.
Right? Like the women's Ultimate X Max was fucking
want to definitely give flowers to the women of Impact. And Mickie James. Mickie James is making this last rodeo quite memorable. So it's good that she's going to be, whenever it ends, going out on a high note.
Yeah.
Because she definitely deserves that.
I just watched the Rumble for the first time. Because we did the show last year.
Yes.
And Mickie James showed up with the title.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Sure
with
did.
the title, yes.
Yes, and it was mentioned. That's when I knew. I should have known Vince was out of here.
That could have been like a moment of the year if like a billion different highly dramatic things didn't happen. Like early on in the year, it was like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. And then shit hit the fucking fan.
It's also another easy award. So we swept that one. Easy. Bianca Belair. Tag Team of the Year.
Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
It's FTR.
FTR easy.
Look. I've watched people go to bat for the Usos, and I think the Usos are incredible.
Great. No harm in being second.
No, and I think the Usos had tremendous matches with the Street Profits. But that's kind of where the buck stops with the Usos. They've had, and not in a bad way, but that was like their standout match. Their Money in the Bank match with the Street Profits was incredible. But FTR, in this feud with the Briscoes, and FTR facing Aussie Open, like, we're talking about just great wrestling matches. FTR's got it.
Yep.
And that dog collar match, holy fuck.
Had a great match with the Bucks.
They just don't stop. Those two guys bet on themselves leaving WWE. They went to AEW, and yes, the complaint will always be, damn, they weren't even on AEW pay-per-views that much this year. However,
they were everywhere else.
They were everywhere else belt collecting, but not belt collecting just to belt collect because they're that fucking good. They're an old school, no flippy dippy bullshit tag team. They just smash you in the mouth and they just work really hard. That's easily the tag team of the year.
And kudos for them doing this entire thing this year as baby faces.
Yeah. Just because they're good. It was just off the basis that they're good.
Yeah, they never officially turned face.
Nah.
They're just like, oh, they're good. We're going to cheer them.
Yeah, we're going to cheer. Yeah, easy.
Cole?
Yeah, 7-star FTR, easy pick. I think what's amazing to watch about them is like when you're thinking about FTR, you don't think like, oh, well, they're not like flippy dippy athletic. They're not doing what Death Triangle's doing. They're not doing what the Elite are doing, the Young Bucks are doing. But except they kind of are, just in a different way. The pace of their matches, there are all these points that they hit where just the pace is so unrelenting, where it is just like move after move after move after move. And maybe it's a little bit lower to the ground, but it's such an exciting pace that they bring that athletic element into it that you're not necessarily thinking about. You're not thinking about like, well, when's Rey Fenix and the Lucha Bros? Like, when are they going to be jumping off the high shit, doing Canadian destroyers off the top turnbuckle? That's not what they're about. But they're just doing, they have that pace. And then of course, just the hard hitting bruising matches. I mean, them and the Briscoes fucked each other up. I mean, those are some of the hardest hitting matches you're going to see all year. It's just, they far and away, I think this was like an award, like, I want to say like halfway through the year, like was already decided, and there was just no one that was going to catch them.
And then they just kept
they just did a couple things to cap it off. Even their match with the Acclaimed was great as well. So I think,
you know what that pace is called, Cole? Ring psychology.
Ring psychology. Yeah. You know, that's just good ass wrestling. Let's just leave it at that. You know, let's just leave it at that. Don't give me that ring psychology.
Amazing
bullshit.
tag team. And then I feel we're going to rehash a lot of these. Men's match of the year.
I mean, here's the
We
question.
broke this down, by the way, people, because if we just gave overall match of the year, we would have left so much shit out.
Yeah.
If we just did men and women's, it would have been tough. So we did men's, women's, tag match of the year.
The real
And
question.
to be fair, I had to ask for some clarification on what constitutes
A
tag
tag.
and what
Yeah.
constitutes like just men's match of the
Yeah.
year. So there are a lot of candidates here. Sorry,
There are.
Dre, go ahead.
But I think the only question is it the G1 match or the Wrestle Kingdom match? It's Ospreay and Okada.
Oh, yeah.
So which one was better?
G1.
I agree. And I watched them both back, and I was
Yep.
like, holy fuck.
I just watched them again this week.
Yeah. Ospreay and Okada at G1 was spectacular. And their match at G1 is the runner-up. And then
Yeah.
Gunther and Sheamus.
Ospreay Okada, honestly, at Wrestle Kingdom, took a while to get into. The sprint of that match was incredible.
Yeah.
But it was slow-paced, methodical. It was, I want to, not in a bad way, I don't mean to mock him, but it's like, I want to prove I'm a heavyweight Ospreay.
Right.
Like, it was still like, I'm a big boy now, and like wrestled like a real big boy ass match, where at G1 it was just like,
Yeah. That's
nah, fuck this. Like, I do what I want.
I nothing else to say.
No. So
Cole?
that's my match of the year. Cole,
Ospreay
pick
Okada
something
G1. Ospreay Okada G1. But I think as far as WWE and AEW is concerned, I think Gunther Sheamus is right up there.
Yeah.
And that was it's everything you want in wrestling, as far as not only the competitors in the match, but seeing the stage and what kind of became the stakes of that match. It was, and the build to it was brilliant, where they had like, they had Ridge and Butcher fighting, are fighting Imperium, and like they're just standing in the ring looking at each other. Like there was such an intensity that, especially up to that point, like that had been long missing from WWE television.
Yep.
There wasn't anything like that, as much as they tried to shove Roman and Brock down our throats. That was like, oh, these two are gonna go, and like these two are gonna beat the shit out of each other, and they did it. And the false finishes there had that crowd on edge the entire time. And I feel like for someone like Sheamus, who had been around there for a long time, had always been like a good contributor, he had a signature moment in that match, and Gunther was a big part of that. So yeah, I think that needs to have a special shout out. And then, I mean,
AEW had a couple though. AEW, not to bring up
Ospreay Cassidy, Ospreay Cassidy. Ospreay Cassidy
Danielson
was really
Hangman
good.
was
Danielson,
last
Hangman.
January.
Yeah, Death Triangle and the Elite.
Well, again, we're not at tags yet.
No, I'm just saying. Oh, well,
But
yeah,
yes,
you're right.
But like singles matches,
Moxley and what was that, Garcia? Had a great
that was
match.
good.
That was really. I mean, they've had a lot of good matches, but yeah, I think far and away.
Yeah.
Oh, in Triple Mania, Phoenix versus Viking heel.
Oh yeah.
That shit was
yeah.
stupid. And if you go out of your way to
Heel
watch
the
that match.
Viking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
no,
out
that
of your
shit's
way
crazy.
to watch that match. That at the Sporting News, I made that my third favorite match. Like everybody's like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Just watch this match."
I think Io just got his Io the Viking just got his visa to work in the US.
That's fucking scary.
And it's so we'll probably see him in AEW come 2023.
Let's get him and Ospreay in the ring together.
Oh, I didn't even think of him going to Japan. I just thought he got
Him
like
and Ospreay, him and
a
Omega.
visa to come to the
Just-
US.
just-
Like you sent him to Japan?
Just fucking print money. Anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that's gonna be fun for 2023. Women's match of the year. It's quick. We touched on this already. To me, it's Bianca versus Becky.
It is, but it isn't. Because Kyrie and Iwatani at the New Japan Stardom crossover.
Oh, that was a good
fucking
match.
incredible. But I'll go with Bianca and Becky. Yeah.
And to be clear, Bianca Becky at WrestleMania. And that's
Yes.
not necessarily saying their SummerSlam match was bad by
Oh,
any
yeah,
means, because
no.
that was also a great match. But that WrestleMania match with the entrances, it was the first. And even though she's not big time Bex anymore, that was the first time that gimmick really hit. Her entrance there was perfect, and then obviously Bianca's entrance was just so fucking awesome. So, yeah, Bianca
Match of the year.
and Becky.
Bianca's racking up golden DCs this year. Tag match of the year, FTR
Oh God,
Dog collar match.
versus the Briscoes is my tag match of the year.
Shit was violent.
FTR versus Briscoes won. is my tag match of the year.
That was this year, or was that? I thought it was like
this
last
year.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
I'm still gonna go with the dog collar match, even though if one was incredible. I mean, you could pick it out of the hat, right?
It really could.
That's match of the year.
I think that was the ROH final show before they collapsed, and
Did
then
that-
Tony bought it.
That would have been last year then.
No, I think Tony. Well, maybe.
You have to look it
I
up.
can't remember
I'll
the
look
time.
it up.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's
Just
my
put
number
FTR
No,
Briscoes
no.
and put a question.
one. Question mark.
No, I think Tony. I think Tony had bought at that point because that was when Samoa Joe showed up. Was the year,
yes.
was the same
Yep.
pay per view as the first one.
Yes. So that's
And we
final,
had that story from Tony.
Was that Final Destination? I don't remember. Anyway, that's
Super Card of Honor,
April.
April 1st,
Fuck.
Mania weekend.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with that one. It might change tomorrow because I just watched the dog collar match again. But
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was brutal. But that first one,
first them near falls were crazy.
ring psychology, man.
Hey man.
There's something about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
that is my number one match.
so I had to ask for clarification on a match. from
Yes, you did.
Kel. So Kel now knows what's coming.
Yep.
But it'd be hard pressed for me not to bring up this match at least, and give it a fighting chance.
I almost flipped
Because Wild Thing was stuck in our heads from that point on, and that was the most chaotic scene I've ever been a part of in any kind of live sporting event. Anarchy in the Arena
Yeah. Oh god.
was
I almost flip
absolutely
flopped when Cole asked me about this.
bonkers, completely bonkers from everything. And granted, maybe we're a little bit biased because we were sitting there and in fact we were slightly involved in some of the
someone
spots.
told you to move your ass.
Yes, Brian Danielson looked me straight in the eye and said, "Get out of the way!" And then freaking threw Angelo Parker on the chairs,
Yeah.
which I still took a bump for that. Still proud of that.
I
my
caught
shin's still
COVID
healing, guys.
for that match.
Yeah, we all. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how I avoided that shit.
I don't know how you.
I
avoided
don't know. We caught COVID for that fucking match.
Yeah, Jericho was at my feet at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, and everything up to that point, it was like fucking absolutely crazy. And I think this we'll talk about for a segment later, but I have to bring it up now. Eddie Kingston, with a dead look on his face, blood all over him, blood all over his Yankee shirt, walking down the ramp with the gas tank, is one of the craziest fucking images in an Eddie wrestling arena I've ever seen. And everyone believed that he was going to light a man on fire. That was the thing. Is like, it was so believable that Eddie Kingston was just like, he had gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That was it. His brain's gone. And he's just like, I'm going to light this man on fire. And he doused him in all the gas.
That's the tag match of the year. I got to flip it. Even though we're 2 versus 1, they got to get the award.
I'm still sticking with FTR.
The ambiance of that is
It was nuts. Don't get me wrong, it was nuts. Yeah.
like, we'll talk about that
Anyway. Yeah.
forever. Like that.
Well, what a year too. Also, just not only for just tag wrestling, but all the triple threats that we had. I mean, that the trios tournament that we had so many freaking bangers. And we're currently going through a series of 7 with Death Triangle and the Elite, and it's just flippity dippity shit. What can I say? But when Ospreay and United Empire came over, their matches with Death Triangle and the Elite were awesome. It was great to see Kenny back in the ring. So just a really incredible year for tag team wrestling.
Yep.
Just
It's good to see WWE
and-
bringing their tag team ranks back to
Yeah, they got
some
some catching up to do.
respectability. Yeah, I mean, the trios division really helping AEW out a lot because like the tag team division has been like. Even then, the Acclaim has had some bangers.
That's what I'm saying.
Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory 1 was really fucking good.
The triple threat tag at Double or Nothing.
Oh,
yes,
phenomenal. Like, so there's a lot of bangers out there. But yeah, WWE's trying to get more tags into the mix. It's they just got to make it feel special with the tag teams and then give them time, let them wrestle. Next up, Feud of the Year. We only got 4 more awards. So, Feud of the Year.
I picked MJF in CM Punk because they ended up in their dog collar match at Revolution.
They did.
And that feud was incredible. And it ended with a tremendous match. I was trying to go through a bunch of feuds, and I was like, I kept going back to that one. So I'm going with Punk MJF.
Colt?
Yeah, Feud is a really interesting it's interesting because we need like a beginning and an end, and there's so many. I feel like there's so many storylines that either they ended abruptly with like not having that oomph, or they're still ongoing.
Yes.
I think I know what we'll be talking about come next year, but we're not talking. I mean, we're not talking about what happens with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn yet. So that story still has yet to be told. Yeah, I'll agree with Dre here. I think as far as like having a feud beginning to end, I guess it's a little bit cheating because it started at the end of last year. But CM Punk MJF, I think, had the most complete one, where others had moments. There's another category for that.
Yep.
I'll bring up another feud that has a moment, but CM Punk MJF.
All right, I'm cheating, and I'm not going to win this, so the CM Punk MJF will win this. CM Punk versus Hangman Page.
It was really good, too.
It's a very small feud in the vacuum. The feud was so good, it translated to real life and fucked up an entire company's plans for half a year.
Yeah.
Because it went from on the mic in the ring to a presser to punches and bites to firing to fucking craziness, madness off of what started as an in-ring, honest-to-God feud between a guy who said, I can't wait to work with this young man when he first showed up, to, lo and behold, hatred, and I fucking hate working with children, to I'm gone.
Yep.
It's the feud of the year for me.
All right.
The overarching ramifications.
That is fair.
Of that shit.
That's fair, but you lose.
And then most improved wrestler of the year. So doesn't have to be the strongest, just who is improved the most. Had trouble because one of the candidates is no longer wrestling.
Mandy Rose.
They're on
Mandy
OnlyFans.
Rose. Yo,
I didn't know if that disqualifies her.
Nah, not at all. Because Mandy Rose, like a year ago, we were like, really?
No, yeah, she was bad.
And she's improved. She's still not the best wrestler in the world, but she is improved from what she was to what she is, and now she's on with the company. It's Mandy Rose.
Cole?
R.I.P. the internet's take. R.I.P. the internet's take of Mandy Rose's V trigger is better than
get that
any
out.
other. So
Cut that out.
we don't have that. That's interesting. That's a very good point. Mandy Rose. If Mandy Rose is our collective pick, I have no problems with that. But I'm going to say Wheeler Yuta. I think Wheeler Yuta, like he just showed up big time. It felt like he was kind of out of nowhere. He was hanging out with the best friends, not doing a whole bunch. Then he has an incredible series of matches and goes into the Blackpool Combat Club. I think his matches with Daniel Garcia were amazing. He wins most improved for me, but Mandy Rose is also a very good candidate for that as well.
Yeah. I feel like we give it Mandy. I disqualified her because she's no longer wrestling due to the OnlyFans scandal. But she
doesn't
did
mean she didn't
a ton.
improve.
That's true.
She improved. She wins.
My vote was the Acclaimed. I cheated. I chose both of them.
Oh.
I thought they were the most improved
That's
wrestler. Like, not even just a gimmick. Like, in ring, they put on bangers that I never expected.
Yeah, that's true.
I never did. So I thought the Acclaimed were most improved. Moments of the year.
Come on, man.
It's a 2-horse race.
It's a 1-horse race. And it's not a wrestling. It didn't happen in the ring. It's Vince McMahon retiring from the WWE. It's not even fucking close.
I don't know.
Come on. I don't care.
Brawl out?
No.
Gal.
No. Vince
Gal.
McMahon was supposed to die.
I'm just
in
saying,
Gorilla.
like,
No.
I'm not going to dispute. We talked about this already when it happened.
There's
I'm not going
no
to fight
question.
too hard about this. But it's at least a 2-horse race, even if one horse edges out the other.
Nah, man. It's Brawl Out would have won any other year. But Vince McMahon is the biggest story in the history of pro wrestling.
According to Hulu and Vice.
I mean, just according to anything, that man made pro wrestling and he's gone, and nobody saw that coming.
Unless he comes back.
We
No, he
all
ain't coming.
we all thought he was going to have to die in order for him.
Everybody
to be
did.
100%.
done.
Thought he was going to die in Gorilla
Yes,
on the headset.
yes, that's the biggest story in pro wrestling.
I will say though, I've got a lot written down because on any other year, there are so many on here that could win.
MJF.
You have Brawl Out. You have MJF. Did he get on the flight gate?
Yeah,
Oh, my
MJF
God.
flight.
That was here.
that was here.
We were like,
You have the Seth promo on Riddle. You have, let's see what else.
Oh,
do I
that
have?
was unfortunate.
Cody going from AEW to WWE when no one was doing that.
oh,
That
yeah.
was a massive
Yeah.
fucking moment. And him coming out in WrestleMania, getting that pop and was super over and right to the top of the card. His injury kind of derailed that. Otherwise, we would be talking more about Cody Rhodes this year. Much
It
to Kel's
helped
chagrin.
No.
Stone Cold wrestled this year, guys.
That happened.
Stone Cold Steve Austin
a real ass
wrestled
match.
a match.
Real ass match.
All of
Like,
all of it dies underneath Vince. It's
but
unreal.
it doesn't matter because Vince McMahon was
gone.
literally like, is WWE. He still is WWE,
Yes.
but like now he's at least for please stay away, Vince. Just stay away. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that shit. It eclipsed
Your
everything.
time is done. It's better off without you.
100%. It eclipsed everything. Vince McMahon is gone.
So many big moments that could have won any other year, but they all picked the year that Vince left.
Yep.
Last award, pay-per-view of the year.
I had a really hard time picking this because I think it's Forbidden Door.
I'm biased. I'm going to say this immediately, and I'm okay with that. Double or Nothing is the best pay-per-view of the year. I didn't go to Mania. Mania Night 1 was my runner-up.
It's
It
funny.
had Stone Cold
Yeah.
versus it had Bianca
Yeah.
on it. It had so many good matches night 1 of Mania. Night 1 of Mania was great. It had Logan Paul on that one too versus The Miz. We were like, yo, Logan Paul can wrestle. Like, this shit's crazy. So they had a lot on there. Night 1 of Mania was my runner-up. Double or Nothing.
It's crazy because Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, Full Gear, and Revolution. These are all AEW pay-per-views that were excellent this year.
Mhm.
But WrestleMania is not my favorite WWE pay-per-view this year. It's Clash of the Castle. Gunther and Sheamus kicked that thing off.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns and Logan Paul had no business having the match that they had. And it's only because of, like, I was shocked at how the breath, how quick it was, how impactful it was. That was my WWE. But it's right now I'm gonna say Forbidden Door. I don't know if I'm gonna stay on that because Full Gear was great and Revolution was great and Double or Nothing was great. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it, Double or Nothing because we had the Anarchy match in the arena.
We were there. We are losing our shit the entire time.
I mean, to let's put it this way. Let's put the Double or Nothing and especially Anarchy in the arena into perspective. I am the biggest fucking Boston Celtics fan on planet Earth, and they were playing Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals that night, and they were in the fourth quarter, and Anarchy in the arena started, and I never checked the score until the end of the game because there was so much going on that it took me out of that frame of mind of even thinking about the game. That's how crazy that was. Yeah. So I think Double or Nothing's the one. I think we could be talking about Forbidden Door here if Adam Cole does not get hurt in that match.
Yeah, no,
it was a little
that
long.
match. People forget, like, that match was fucking humming along, and the amount of talent in that match is ridiculous.
But I remember the end of that
Absolutely
pay-per-view being weird.
ridiculous.
It was Moxley and Tanahashi had a great match, but then they ended with an angle.
Yeah, and they
That's the
did
only
the
thing
run
they
in and it just left the
Yeah,
sour taste.
we could be talking about Forbidden Door because there were a lot of great matches on that card, and that championship match for the IWGP Championship would have. I want an alternate reality where we see the true end of that because they were all foregoing, and then it's just unfortunate that Adam Cole got hurt, and it's. I mean, clearly it's very serious since we don't know what's going on. So hopefully he gets healthy, but otherwise Forbidden Door was a very good show. But yeah, we were at Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
It was
Right here in Vegas. Can't wait for the next one.
Yep.
It's going to be a crazy show. Cole, you have to come into town for that next year. We're not taking no for an answer. You got to be here. And then we'll be in your city, new adopted city for WrestleMania. So 2023 is going to be crazy, even crazier than 2022. Like, it's the first year of the trips regime, the first full year. Tony is probably going to have full-on deals for 2 different huge brands. 3 years ago, he had none. Like, now he has 2 of the biggest wrestling brands in his ownership. So it's going to be amazing. And Wrestle Kingdom is coming up. I'm going to be at your crib.
Oh, yeah.
chilling and watching it, and New Japan is back. Damn, the pandemic hit them hard, and it took them a while to find their footing. We're good.
Yep.
We're back to where it was, and now everyone is good. And it's great, man. It's a great time for pro wrestling. Our awards next year will reflect that. We appreciate everyone for listening. We honestly do. Producer Cole, baby, as always, thank you for joining us. Amazing show. We'll keep this short and sweet for everyone here at Blue Wire Studios. Happy holidays. Enjoy your family. Follow us on social media. If you guys aren't already, Corner Podcast _ Twitter, Corner Club for Life on Instagram. Man, it's been one hell of a year in pro wrestling. Can't wait to see what happens next year. But for now, we're out.
Peace. Scissor me, daddy ass.
On the corner.